All right. Okay. So, wow. Okay, so I understand what we want to do here. So let me just ask you, as we're thinking about this, are there any occasions that you want to have this done for? I know you said that you're having a celebration of life this weekend. Obviously, we're not going to have it finished for that. Are there any other dates that we want to try to shoot for to having this completed, or just?
Not really. We're hoping to have photographers here, and I guess I probably ought to use my video equipment and have somebody running that while we're here and interacting with all the. This is my family. This is my brother and his children and their children, and my own children that live out of state that are coming. I have a daughter coming in from Atlanta, and I have a son coming over from Boulder, Colorado, and his wife, and then I have two sons here, and they'll all be here.
All right. I'll talk to you about something you might be able to do with your family while they're here in a minute. I'm going to get too many things going on here. So after we have it finished, do you plan on showing it on the big screen? Do you plan on? Do you have a family that lives remotely who are going to want to be able to pull it up on YouTube? Do you want it to be available online?
See, all this technology is so new to me. I know it's available, but I've never used YouTube.
Okay.
I would probably want to do it on CDs because everybody has CD player.
Right.
But it's going digital now, so that's going away.
Right, exactly. Right.
It's amazing how fast that technology has moved.
Okay, so you want it on DVD, and ARM is concerned about being able to pull it down in different locations. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We can do that.
When I was in South America, that's when the Eagle landed on the moon. And I set up the antennas and received all of that for the mobile plantation complex where we lived. We were housed by them doing that tropical meteorology experiment I was telling you about. And I was able to actually have the first color pictures in that part of the world of the actual landing on the moon. And we had a big celebration and a dinner there, but I was responsible for making that available to them because of my background in receiving technology and antennas and TVs and that kind of things. So those are the kind of things that just are kind of choice to me.
Right, you have a technology legacy.
Yeah, I do.
And I'm an American, actually, legacy because of all of the improvements that you made in health.
Oh yeah. So I was on the curl of the technology as it was developed and moved forward. Always new technology out there, always reaching for the latest and greatest. And now I sit back, now that I'm retired, and I said, I just can't believe it. It's moving much faster. When I look at what was on those first landing on the moon, and how big the computers were, and what they did compared to what we do today. Oh yeah, we've been down to Cape Canaveral many times and went through their museums and just marvel at all that. And looking at today, you have more computing power probably on your iPad.
I know, terabytes in Google. There's like a term for Google for infinity. I mean,
I know.
It's crazy.
But to me, that's overwhelming because my dad plowed with horses. I look at where we're at today. Right. And we're really, I think it's going so fast now. Not only can I not keep up with it, I don't even care to, because it just scrambles my brain.
I have young children, so I feel like I have to stay enough to teach them or to monitor what they're doing, make sure they're not getting into trouble.
Oh, you have to.
Yes. So, do you think that you would have the time or the resources to pull together? Do you want to pull any of your photographs or any of your memorabilia? Because we could take pictures of the things that you collected in these different areas, so that as you speak about them, then we can overlay on top of them an artifact or a picture, or even what I often do is I go online and I find, especially with World War II veterans, I have a lot of historic photos that if they don't have them themselves, in order to elucidate, is that the word? Elucidate the concepts to their grandchildren, I feel like I need to put the picture of a B-52 bomber.
Yes.
And so it's just a generic one, but as they're
I
talking about
understand.
it, I would say,
I know about that. That's in my past too, by the
Okay.
way, because when I was with the National, well, when I was with Orbital Sciences, they're the ones that developed the Pegasus rocket we used for launching satellites. It was about 50 million a pop for the first satellites we put up. We were doing it for just a couple million with the Pegasus rocket. We could take 7 or 8 mini-sats and put it in that rocket, put it on the L1011, go beyond up into the stratosphere and launch. So now we don't have all that energy expended trying to get it to the
launch
atmosphere.
from the stratosphere,
And
from the,
and we could put those
wow.
a galaxy of small satellites out for a fraction of what is talk about technology.
Right,
So I was
right.
on the curl of that too. I watched all that happen.
Well, there's thousands of satellites up there
Oh
right
yeah,
now,
people have no
running
clue.
into each other, and
That's right. The geostationary birds are the ones that are up 23,500 miles. They're in sync or geostationary with the Earth. The Earth is rotating like that, and at that distance, it's rotating, and it has a footprint on the Earth, and that's what we call geostationary birds. And then I did a project in New York City for the city of New York. We put in a satellite antenna to receive all the satellites on the Arthur C. Clarke belt, which is nothing more than the belt where all these satellites you're talking about are geostationary with the Earth.
it's called the Arthur C.
Arthur C.
belt.
Clarke, you know who he was. He was a brilliant scientist.
And he has a orbital belt named for him.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, nothing's stationary. Every satellite flies in an 80-mile square box, and then drifts around, and it flies in a figure 8. That's the way it's programmed. And we found this out when it was in India, because the first satellite, NSat 1A, had a problem. The solar cells didn't deploy, and that comes out one side of the satellite. It's just like a big sail, has all these little solar cells on it. And so it didn't have any power except for the power on the main batteries. And then the opposite side has to have a big boom out here to stabilize it, otherwise it'd be tumbling all the time. So the Indians, they wanted to use their new satellite, so they turn on the transmitter. They have what they call hydrogen thrusters on board that positions the satellite in the center of the box. Because if you're not in the center, you don't have the energy. Go ahead. Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you, Ed?
Oh,
I'm great.
Hi, Garrett. I'm Pamela.
Good to see
Nice
you.
to meet you. Good to see you too.
She's doing a little
Yeah,
recording here.
we put this on just in case, so you could hear what we've already said
All right.
later on.
Yeah, he's already heard some of this. In
Okay.
fact, we talked about it last time.
Yeah, so
But
I'm,
the point was that the satellite, the only way it would be effective with a beam or footprint on the Indian subcontinent was to position it into the center of the box and then turn on the transmitters. And they did that in the morning for 2 hours, in the afternoon for 2 hours. And they had TV, and everybody's delighted. They're getting all these pictures of what's going on their TV station. And they used up 7 years of hydrogen thruster gas in just a few months. And then they call this, hey, we need to do something
we need
with
a
our
different
satellite.
solution.
Fortunately, there was one part, 1B was about ready to go online. It was actually, they parked these in parking slots. And they were able to bring it online and save the day except they didn't do it in time for the Olympics, the Asian Olympics. We had
They
that.
had to work around that a different
We did
way.
that, and we did that. I told them last time how we did that. We actually went to Intelsats. There's Intelsats all around the world, and Intelsats are controlled by England. And so we just called England and ordered an Intelsat and got them to configure a beam that would go over the subcontinent of India. And now that's a different frequency. We had theirs at 2.2 gigahertz, and the new ones are 4.1.
I want you to save all this. Are you going to be good the day that I actually have the cameras in here?
I think so.
Okay. You
But
can
anyway,
move
all
this.
I'm trying to tell
Okay,
you is,
right.
to solve the problem was,
Right.
we had to use a different satellite that was
Oh.
already parked out in space, and we just released it from them. Saved the day. They had the Asian Olympics, and it was very successful.
Ed rides in to save the day.
Yeah. But those are the kind of things I want my grandkids to know about.
Absolutely. So we've just been talking about of all the wonderful things that Ed's done in his life, which that we only an hour will fit on a DVD. So we're trying to focus on what his passion is and what he wants to leave to posterity.
Okay.
And so obviously he has he's a remarkable man in his job and his profession, and so what I'm doing here is outlining some of the anchor points that he's talked about, so that when we do record, I can say, all right, so you told me about the Orinoco River. Just in case you get stuck, I don't intend. I see that you're a wonderful speaker, and I don't think I'll need to prompt you at all. But if you did get stuck, I could say, well, you also mentioned satellite technology, or just to try to prompt you along. So
Yeah,
that's
I
all
see.
I'm doing here, is just taking some general notes for when we interview. We can
Little
I
memory
can ask-
hooks.
Exactly. Yeah. And so thank you for your service in the Air Force.
Oh, happy to do
Thank
that.
you very much.
It played very strongly to my retired life after I got out of the Air Force.
Thank you
The
very
very airplanes, the very planes that we flew, all the cargo down into those islands were flown by the National Guard. And I worked on them and serviced them. I understood all the electronics. I usually flew up in the cockpit with where the commander was, because I knew all about his electronics, his radars. We were looking for these islands in the Pacific. It was pretty tough to find a little island in the middle of the Pacific that was very tiny.
much. Right.
And these things, you could walk across them in just, half an hour. Small islands.
I always, I usually find a title for the DVD, and I'm thinking you had a front row seat to technology, that you were the co-pilot to something,
Yeah.
and so
It just worked out that way.
Yeah.
I'm no grand person. I hate
Right.
to beat my drum, but the point is, those are true stories, and I
Right.
want my grandkids to know about it.
absolutely.
Of course.
And so one way. So do you think? How long do you think it would take for you to gather the supporting memorabilia or documentation of? If it's slides, I can help you get them digitized. If it's
Is that an easier technique than it used to be? Digitize the side?
yeah, you just call up a conversion service and say I'm bringing over 10 slides.
Oh,
Wait,
no,
but
really?
Yeah.
Because I had some software that you could actually put the slides
Yes.
into it, and then it would digitize it into your computer. But I gave it to my son because I never did get around to using it. It's brand new, never used it, still in the box.
Right. You can Inkley's camera sometimes has, it's a box about the size of a shoebox,
Yeah.
and you can fill it full for $49, and whatever fits in there, they'll digitize it for you for $49.
Oh,
Or I use
that's excellent when you
Yeah.
think of the time involved in doing
right,
it.
and I use Yes Video also in California, and you can do it from them. But I do think, because your story is so complex. I mean, admittedly, you lost me several times, and so if to explain to your grandchildren what you've done, I think it would really be helpful if we could. This almost has to be educational,
It is, very much
and
so.
so to put those points home, I really think we are going to need some of those supporting
Yeah.
things.